Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Welcome, everybody, to a late night edition of I'll Hang Up and Listen. Tampa Bay forces Game 6 in an exciting back-and-forth game, 3-2 with a game-winning goal from Andre Palat, who's been a huge glue guy for the Tampa Bay Lightning in these playoffs. Guy has, I think he's 11 goals to this point, which I think leads the NHL. I want to say he leads the NHL in playoff goals right now. But I am joined by producer Steve and, of course, none other than the beautician himself, Ryan Drury from the Instigators podcast. Boys, thanks for hopping on for me late tonight. I know it's sometimes it can be a little tough to stay up for these late ones, but I appreciate you hopping on.
I mean, you say that sometimes, but not this series. I could watch this series every single goddamn night for the rest of my life. Like two titans just going at it, just dueling to the death. I kind of want one of those like divisional seasons again where these two just have to go up against each other forever. I don't know what kind of geographic division you'd make where these two have to match up every night, but I don't care. Make it happen.
Right.
Yeah, it could just be the Kings and then the Scrubs, and that's the other 30 teams in the league. Just, oh my God, this series is incredible. I don't ever want it to end, but I know it has to. Oh my God, it's so good.
Drury?
Yeah, it's been really entertaining hockey, and I mean tonight I think we saw obviously the tightest game of the series so far, barring the overtime win, where even in that game though, I felt like Colorado was going to win the whole time. Like they were so good in game one. They came out flying, and Tampa was able to withstand a lot of that because of Vasilevsky. Game two, they got floored, and give credit to Tampa. Like they're Tampa. Like I don't feel like anybody should be surprised with what we've witnessed here because of what they've been able to do on a run that's, getting into pretty historic territory here. If they can win game 6 and come back from 3-1 down and win game 7 and win 3 straight cups for the first time since the 80s Islanders that won 4 straight. They were the last team to win 3. It's incredible what this team can do. Just when you think Colorado up 3-1, they're going back home, high altitude, which we heard some of the Tampa players complaining about when they went back home, the altitude getting to them. And for them to come in, I think a lot of people wrote Tampa off because of what we've seen Colorado do, particularly on home ice, and up 3-1 heading back home. Just felt like to a lot of people, I think, including myself, even going into the game a little bit, it just almost kind of felt, and I feel a lot of people wanted it to be predestined that Colorado would put Tampa away, to the delight of a lot of hockey fans that have had to watch that team put their team out over the last couple of years. Man, that team, it's just incredible what they're able to do with their backs on the mat. It almost defies explanation. Like, they just have so many guys that have been there, done that. Palat, again, a guy that they drafted in the 7th round, steps up huge for them again. He's gonna cash in this offseason.
Oh my God! So I've already seen people joking, but not so much joking, that he's gonna be a Bruin by day 1 of free agency. Which
yeah,
no,
it feels like it, right? It feels like a good fit for him, right? But for right now, what he continues to do for that team is kind of part of the second wave, right? You think of Tampa and you think of Hedman, Stamkos, Kucherov, Point, who still hasn't played, which is another thing that really factors into what I feel might be some trouble for Colorado here. I tweeted out, is that game-winning goal that Kemper let in going to be the moment that we look back on collectively in a few days' time and say that was the moment that it got away from them? Because we've seen, all of us, over the last 2 seasons and into this run, look what just happened to the Rangers, up 2-0. Our buddy John Lazarus feeling pretty good
Yeah.
early on in that series. You cannot give Tampa gifts like this. You cannot do it with this team. And I don't say that about Colorado because they haven't won. You cannot do this stuff. This team has proven that when you give them an inch, they always take a mile. And now the team playing in Mile High City might be in a lot of trouble because Point is getting closer. Vasilevsky, we know what he can do when he gets locked in and starts feeling it.
And he was locked in tonight.
He was locked in. The second goal that went in was not very good, but here's the thing. Vasilevsky does that very rarely. Two of the goals, the Kucherov power play goal, I mean, that's a ripper. You know, Martin Brodeur's not stopping that. The other two, though, including the game winner, where he does not have proper hold of his stick, and Duane, you break this down for me, guys. You guys are the goalie experts. He does not have proper grip of his stick, and it gets caught on his pad as he goes from the VH push to try and get over there. And he would have stopped that shot if he doesn't get his stick tangled up with his pads. Just poor technique, and he let in a soft goal. And the first goal that Ruda scored was soft too. You just cannot do this stuff with Tampa.
I don't care. They said that shot was coming in 95 miles an hour, but no screen in front of you. It was far out on a rough angle. I mean, you're an NHL goaltender, man. Like, you have to make that save.
I agree. I just, again, like it might seem like, you know, a little melodramatic and counting Colorado out, which we shouldn't. Give them due respect too. But like I said, they've not won yet. And when you give a team that has the experience that this Tampa team does, something like that, a moment like that to get life out of in your building when you could have hoisted the cup tonight, I don't know. It just feels soul crushing almost, you know, because it's Tampa. Like, man, I hope, like, I don't care who wins. I think both teams are a great story, and there's great guys to follow on both teams. You know, Bowen Byram coming back from almost having to retire, all the things and crap that Nazem Kadri's had to put up with in these playoffs, comes back from an injury, big OT winner. Stamkos with all the success he's had on the other side after breaking his leg and having the blood clot issues a few years ago. Like, there are guys, Palat, a 7th round pick that came out of nowhere. There's guys to like on both teams. I really kind of hope, having said all that, and I don't care who wins, I hope that we don't look back on tonight as the moment where Colorado let it all slip away because of that goal that their goaltender let in. I don't know. It just feels a little dire now. I don't know what you guys think.
For me, if they go back, because Game 6 is in Tampa, correct?
Yeah.
So if they go back to Tampa and win Game 6, I think the series is over. Personally, I just think you give that team all that momentum. You all that momentum. You get Vasilevsky locked in, and like you said, he's the best goalie in the world. I mean, Shesterkin's a close second, but he's the best goalie in the world still, in my opinion. And if you give that team momentum offensively and have Vasilevsky locked in and focused and have 2 good games, 2 wins under his belt going into an elimination game, I mean, for me, it's just like, you know, I'm putting all my eggs in the Tampa Bay basket.
Yeah, I mean, the Stanley Cup, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. We know the Avalanche can sprint. They're one of the fastest fucking teams in the league. You watch them every night. Those guys are just whizzing by pretty much everyone they get up against. But, I mean, Tampa Bay's got a player like Pat Maroon, who's not the fastest skate on the ice, but he's still hanging with their fourth line. He's still making stuff happen with Riley Nash, of all people, you know? Like some of the glue guys that are in the depth of the Tampa Bay Lightning, like, you forget that they're there. And let's not forget that the greatest storyline of this three-peat could be Corey Perry finally breaking the Stanley Cup final curse. that he's been suffering through for the past 2 years. Yeah, if you can't beat him, join him, and let's hope it works out for him.
Remember Marian Hossa? Marian Hossa was in the Stanley Cup Finals 3 years in a row before he finally won one.
Yeah, maybe third time's the charm again. But I mean, yeah, ultimately, Tampa Bay knows that to hoist a Stanley Cup, it's a marathon. It's an endurance contest. It's not about who blinks first. It's about who stays up the longest. And given the fact that they've already done it twice and they're, it's not over until it's over. Like, yes, every game now is an elimination game for them, but if they can win it at home in Game 6, it's literally anybody's series Tuesday night. Anyone could take it.
And you know what? Going back to what Ryan was saying earlier, you think about it, they've been to the finals for the last 5 seasons. If you take away when they were swept by Columbus, I think it was in the first round. They've literally been to the finals for the last 5 seasons. So in 5 seasons, they've essentially played what? Like nearly 6 seasons of hockey in 5 years? That's bananas.
Yeah.
That's absolutely bananas. Like no team, going back to, again, what you said, Ryan, go back to the Islanders from the 80s, their dynasty team. Like when they won 3 in a row. It was the Islanders, right? They won 3 in a row?
They won 4 in a row.
4 in a row.
The last one to do 3. Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah. So just imagine just the wear and tear that has on the body, just both mentally and physically. Like, you see how hard it's been for Braden Point to get back and healthy. Who's a huge part of that team. Possibly a top 5 center in the league, and I think one of the most underrated players in the league. Personally, for me, I don't think he gets enough credit, and very underpaid, again, in my opinion. To not have that guy in your lineup, that's a huge loss. And then Cirelli being, off and on injured, just, all the bumps and bruises that add up, come time for the finals. And now you give Braden Point another 2 days to get healthy. He was on the ice this morning. I remember looking at some of the tweets from the morning skate, and people were saying that Point looked good out there. They were expecting, it was almost like they were expecting him to play tonight. And then obviously he was a last second, wasn't out there for warmups, which again, I thought he for sure was playing. But now if he was almost ready to play tonight, you can bet your ass he's ready to go in Tampa Bay in 2 nights.
It's almost an inevitability. And I've been saying it this whole time, been watching these games in Discord with my little brother, that power play unit where Braden Point is usually in that center slot where Corey Perry's planting himself now. That is what makes that power play so freaking deadly. You've got Victor Hedman clapping from the blue line. You've got Kucherov on one side. You've got Stamkos on another. And then if one of those 3 dudes doesn't beat you, all it has to do is just get tipped off Braden Point in the center, who is not going to mess up that play. His hands are too good. He just knows exactly where he needs to be, and he always has his stick on the ice. And I mean, we've seen how important special teams have been in all of these series. So if Braden Point is back in Game 6, I think that's the Avalanche got their rush back with Kadri, and Kadri was the hero the other night. Good for him, and that dude is going to cash in. I have no idea where. I like the theory that I saw that he might end up with the Red Wings. I can honestly see that happening. It would be interesting. I would really enjoy that. But he's going to cash in. Nichushkin's going to cash in. Palat ought to cash in. We'd love to see Palat stay with Tampa, but they seriously just do not have it. But again, that's all to say. If Braden Point's back for Game 6 and he can also play Game 7, I think that's just what sets the series over. I think at that point it's just, it's Tampa's cup to lose at that point. That's my opinion. I'm sure somebody doesn't agree with it, but even if we have a 60% version of Braden Point, that's a dangerous player.
100%. And I mean, you're right. You can, I don't know how people could not necessarily agree with that take though, right? Because it is Tampa we're talking about. It's fine if you still think Colorado will win. Do I still think they can win? Yeah, absolutely. They're they're the ones up in the series here. It's just that like when you do this kind of stuff with Tampa and let them back into a series like this with everything on the line, you know, I don't know why anybody, after watching what we've watched the last 2.5 seasons and into this playoff run, would go, oh no, it's crazy to think Tampa will come back and win. Crazy to think Tampa will win. What are you talking about? Like, look, have you watched what they've done the last 2 3/4 playoff runs? Like, and Duane, you brought up how they've gone to a lot of, you know, long playoff runs, and you know, consider that final that they lost in 2015 to Chicago. Vasilevsky was the backup. He was a rookie that year. Ben Bishop was, remember him, was still the starter in Tampa. And like, you know, and then to have them go on and him take the reins and turn into what he's turned into, you know, the guys up here on Overdrive, which is my favorite sports talk radio show in Toronto, you know, Jamie McLennan, who was a longtime goalie in the NHL, he always refers to Vasilevsky as John Wick. I mean, the comparison is pretty apt. Like, don't think John Wick is in the grave before he's in the grave, because nights like tonight happen. And outside of that softie that went in that ended up getting credited to Makar, he was dialed. And that last 10 minutes, he was unbelievable. All the superlatives that we've thrown out about him over the years, he was all of them and more down the stretch of that game. And that's why I have paused now on Colorado's side of things to go, geez, did they just let something special slip away? Because, you know, guys, if this goes to a game 7, like, who on earth really is betting on Kemper in net over Vasilevsky in a game 7 to win a Stanley Cup? I would venture to say that if you asked most hockey fans right now, it's game 7 tomorrow, your team is in the Stanley Cup final, you can have one player before anybody else gets decided on the roster to help you win that game, I would bet Vasilevsky over McDavid, whoever, would probably top a lot of people's lists. And tonight, he showed again why.
Yep. And if I have to bet myself on a game 7 of any goalie in the last decade, honestly, I'm gonna take Vasilevsky 10 times out of 10 and twice on, Monday through Sunday, twice on Sunday, whatever the stupid cliche.
Monday through Saturday, yeah. You had a little George Bush moment there. Fool me
once. I did.
There's an old saying in Tennessee.
Fool me once, fool me twice.
Can't get fooled again, brother.
It will be good.
No,
we gotta write down all these colloquial sayings for Duane so he can just read the book.
Give him a list before the show. Yeah. No, I
gotta do that.
I agree. Like I think over the last decade, like you said, the only guy that you'd maybe put in that conversation with him is who? Quick.
Yeah.
You know, like God, he's just so good. He's so good. And the team in front of him is pretty good too. And yeah, I don't know, man. Colorado, I feel like they've got to take this on the road, because when it comes down to game 7, this Tampa team, they just figure it out. It's
just shut down hockey. I mean, if Vasilevsky was not a human being, I would say he's literally unbeatable. He's a robot. But we're aware that he's a human being with a pulse. We know this. But
yeah.
I still don't completely believe it. I've never been in the same room with the man. You know, I haven't been able to look under the hood, but like from all accounts, the man is human. He's carbon based. He could be beat, but I haven't seen it happen yet. At least not in an elimination game, do or die. You know,
we have Maniac himself. Avs are going to be in their own heads now. Lightning have been the better team the last 180 minutes. Can't get fooled again. Fool me once. You fool me. You fail me twice. Can't fool me again.
That's pretty good Bush impression. Yeah. I agree with them. You know, it just, and again, like I don't want to seem like I'm selling Colorado short. They have gone on a historic run here where now that's their 4th loss now on this run.
15-4 in the Stanley
good.
Stanley Cup playoffs.
That's pretty damn good. Like they are the toughest test that Tampa has faced so far, with all due respect to the teams that they beat the last 2 years. Colorado has proven to be a speed-fueled juggernaut. And unfortunately, though, they're facing a team that just has so much experience in multiple situations like this. And I just, again, I don't care who wins at this point, though. Even down 3-1, I'm just not going to be shocked if Tampa works this out. I just won't be.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Just give me trying to find this real quick.
Oh, he's trying to find. Are you trying to find that Bush quote?
He's gonna play the Bush quote.
Of course.
Oh no!
You got the sound off.
Tennessee that says "fool me."
Here we go.
There's an old saying in Tennessee. I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says "fool me once, shame on you."
Oh my God, it's so much worse than I remember.
If you fool me, you can't get fooled again.
He doesn't even attempt to go into the second part of the saying.
Nope.
It's just like, fool me once. Like he's never listened to the Who ever.
Oh, it was fantastic. That was so much better than I thought.
Oh my God.
All time. I love too how he starts it by going, there's an old saying in Tennessee. It's in Texas too. I'm sure it's here in Tennessee, and doesn't get it right. What's also super fun, like weird about that is like the Bushes aren't even from Texas. They're from Maine.
Yeah.
So
don't worry about it. That was a real life version. That was a real life version of the Michael Scott moment where he's like, sometimes I just start a sentence, I don't even know where it's going. I just keep talking and I hope I get where I need to be.
You'd swear if someone like you could sell that to
he's a human being. He was once the most powerful man in the world.
He ran your country for a while. Like,
what the fuck?
You would think that was a clip from The Office. Like, it's just so off the rails. And hopefully things don't get off the rails as a result of tonight for Colorado. Because, I mean, this almost feels like we deserve Game 7 now. Like, I don't know. That Tampa team, man, geez.
Can we make it a best of 10? Is that
honestly like the hockey and that's the thing, like the
game of 21?
Been
Let's
so
just go.
Good. I will say though, again, and I know that there's going to be the conspiracy theorists online with the too many men and then the non too many men and whatever. I still just don't understand the NHL and their position on refereeing and why they just, I know why they can't, but there's just this non-admission of guilt almost where they're like, oh no, we call the games the exact same from September in the preseason to Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. No, they don't, man. And I said to my girlfriend's dad who watched the game with me, I don't know if there was a new hockey fan that had just started watching the sport in the room with me. I don't think I could actually tell them what a penalty is. I've been watching this sport since I was graced onto this earth, and I feel like I know less about the rules now than I did when I was an infant. I have no idea what a penalty is. Can you tell me? Like, I don't. The Makar rush in particular. A couple years ago, Johnny Gaudreau got his finger split apart by Jordan Stahl. And they're like, we got to crack down on slashes in the hands. Got to do it. And for the first 3 months of that following season, everything, if your stick was within a meter of a guy's glove, you were getting called. Cale Makar puts together one of the most sensational individual rushes from a standstill to split the defense, creates a breakaway, and he gets a stick right up in his hands and bobbles the puck.
Yeah.
No call. Like, what's a penalty?
You remember? Hey, you
I
remember?
have no idea.
You remember when it was it Mark Mathot? Like, whose finger got chopped off? Was it?
Mathot by Crosby.
It was Crosby. Yeah, it was. I was thinking Crosby got a really bad. No, it was Crosby on Mathot. Like, you remember that shit? Like, that was fucking wild.
And later that season, Crosby rearranged Ryan O'Reilly's manhood, if you will, and didn't get anything for that either. But you can't suspend Sidney Crosby. So
No, you can't. It's impossible.
I kind of feel like the officials are using that old definition of pornography. It's like, I can't quite define it, but I know it when I see it, except they just don't always see it.
yeah.
So that's kind of like, well, I must have missed it. Yeah. It's a fast-paced game, guys. You know, we're not the NFL. We're not gonna dissect the play with 10 different replays in slow motion from like 5 different angles for 2 minutes.
You know,
we are, and we're still gonna get the call wrong. This is a real.
The controversy around the controversy on the Kadri goal in Game 4, like that to me was like absolute insanity. It's just like that play happens all the time, every night on a regular season slate. That play happens, maybe not overtime, maybe just in regulation, but that happens all the time. And the way Cooper kind of went off, it's just like, dude, like if this was just in a normal game during regular season, you wouldn't even give a shit. Like you would.
He was crying.
Yeah, like you're like, you know what I mean? Like Lindy Ruff didn't make that big of a stink during no goal in '99. Clearly, well, because we didn't have the replays that we had. That back. I'm sure he would have, but it's you still should have stopped Kadri, who was coming in alone against three of your players. You didn't, and then Vasilevsky didn't make the save. So who's to blame here, really? The refs or you and your team just not coming up when you needed to?
I agree. Yeah. I agree for sure. And like by the spirit of the rule, I don't even care. I don't even want to dissect it anymore because I just want to say I hate that like this is what the sport is now. Anytime a goal goes in, we all have to go on Google and like reference the rule book. Like it's just like you know what's going to happen? I'll say this. That goal is going to spawn. It will be the next Matt Duchene offside thing where now I can guarantee you this. The NHL is going to do what the NFL did, and every overtime goal is going to be reviewed before it's like, yep, it counts. So it's going to suck so much life and emotion. That's going to happen. Like I bet my life on that they are going to make all overtime goals booth reviewable from Toronto. I can almost guarantee it. Like, and people thought, when the Matt Duchene thing happened, it's an egregious one-off. It's not going to get crazy. She got pretty crazy. I mean, roll the Bush clip again. Fool me once. I don't think so. Can't get fooled again.
Can't get fooled again.
Can't do it.
Can't fool again. Like just so long. Just can't get over the long pause. The long pause.
Just show the clip where that dude tries to throw a shoe at him. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
never fucking forget, guys.
That was
fucking legendary.
And that guy got like torched by Secret Service, and why
he tried to fucking whale a shoe at the president. You're gonna get in hella trouble for that.
John Cooper crying about what happened when his team did the same thing to the Isles. I'm over it. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Tampa got away with a pretty egregious one against the Islanders. Yeah.
I have to imagine Bush probably laughed like 10 minutes later after the whole shoe incident. So he's like,
you have to.
I just got a fucking sketcher thrown at me. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
wasn't that like from Austin Powers? Like, come on, who throws a shoe?
Honestly.
That
really hurt.
Oh my. Yeah, I don't know. What a crazy sport. I mean, even with the complaining of like officiating calls, non-calls, this controversy, that controversy. The refs hate our team. No, they hate our team more. One thing you can never say about the NHL, you can never say it's not entertaining. And man, there is no sport that even kisses NHL playoff hockey.
No,
Not even close.
it's the
That's
most
what I love about it.
it's the most prestigious trophy in all of sports. It's the hardest trophy to win in all sports.
Yeah.
You can't beat the celebration either. Like nothing beats the celebration, the passing from player to player. Just just how that's the one thing that NHL does right about with the playoffs is, just everything surrounding the cup and the presentation. How they embrace the booing now of Gary Bettman. It's just like, and he just embraces it too. He's like, "Yep, I suck. I know you all hate me. The owners love me though, so stick it up your hoop."
I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. I will say it's the best trophy, like presentation too. Like in baseball, the owner gets to touch the trophy first. Ew. And those owners are atrocious people too. Yeah. It's going to be a fun road down the end, boys. I got to leave. I got a flight tomorrow to Vancouver. It's great to jump on with you guys, share some thoughts. What a wild game. And boy, Tampa just won't go away. They're the team that never dies. And we'll see if Colorado's got a bullet left in the chamber, because boy, they let one slip away tonight.
Real quick before you head off, Conn Smythe prediction. As of right now, from each team, who would you pick? Or
Makar.
Makar for sure. I would think that even if Tampa Bay comes back and wins this, that Makar, it'd be like that. Who was it that won the Conn? It was a goalie. Won the Conn Smythe.
J.S. Giguere.
Yeah, Anaheim. He won the Conn Smythe even though they lost. This could be a situation with Makar. Like, that's how good he's been.
I agree. To my knowledge, J.S. Giguere and Ron Hextall are the only players to ever win the Conn Smythe for a losing team. Hexy won it, I want to say, in 87 or 88. Whatever year the Flyers lost to the Oilers, Hexy won the Conn Smythe, and his numbers were redonkulous that year. And then, J.S. Giguere against the Devils. Yeah, even if Colorado loses, I think if Tampa wins, it will be Vasilevsky. But you could make a real strong case that Makar would still deserve it. He's a defenseman. He's got 29 points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that Vasilevsky and Makar.
Makar, you don't think Palat or maybe Stamkos?
They're in there. It's John Wick. John Wick will win it.
John Wick. I love it. I love it. Steve?
Well, I mean, for the Colorado side, the Makar choice seems kind of obvious. I mean, ever since he got his one piece of hardware this summer now, it just kind of seems like the inevitable choice if they choose someone from Colorado. But, in the absence of a Vasilevsky, which is obviously just the other no-brainer, if Point does come back and just have just an incredible finish to this playoff run, I could see them kind of giving it to him as the honor, like as the guy who tips the scales in favor for the three-peat, like that final ingredient where it's just like, this is why we're back-to-back champions, and now we are back-to-back. Mm-hmm. I could see it going to Point, just as like this would not have happened. This might not have happened if you didn't come back when you did.
If you could get betting odds on that, I wonder if that wouldn't be like a really good bet to lay. Because I wonder what the odds would be on that.
I could throw $10 on that. Why the fuck not?
You'd have to think that the odds on that, because he's missed this time, would be like upwards of plus 2,500 or something. Like if you could find that at a sports book or something, you might want to sprinkle some loose couch.
I'm literally moving in a week, so my extra money is like next to nil. But
shake some pillows, brother.
If I can sneak $10 or $20 away, yeah, sure, why not? Let's. I'm
gonna go Makar. For Colorado. Obviously,
or
the guy has just been on a different planet, completely different planet for the playoffs this year. It's for me, it's just a no-brainer there, just like said Steve. And then for for 1 second, guys. Here, sorry, something just had to pop up. But for me, for Tampa Bay, it's a tough call for me. I would have to say for Tampa Bay, it might have to be, I don't know, maybe this guy.
Oh, he's got something cooked up here. Come on.
Uh-oh.
Big reveal.
This guy.
It's
It's going to be like the Paul Rudd Conan bit. He's just going to keep playing this fucking clip every single time he shows up.
I've created a monster.
Shame on you. You fool me, you can't get fooled again. There's
more
an
time,
old
one more time.
saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. You fool me, you can't get fooled again.
or
Oh no, man.
whoever it was.
Oh,
Pat Maroon, the shoe thrower.
yeah.
If anyone's throwing a shoe at somebody in this series, Pat Maroon's throwing a fucking water bottle at somebody's head.
Where is it?
Pat Maroon would be the guy to throw a shoe, eh? Like, and look at George dodge that shoe.
Both shoes, point blank.
You know that, like, man, Georgie might have been a decent dodgeball player in gym class. Like, he got out of the way of that shoe.
It's a size 10.
You know, he's kind of got that look that maybe
He goes as a size. You guys hear that? Hold on.
If you want the facts, it's a size 10 shoe that he threw.
It's a size 10. He looked at the size of the shoe and he told me.
Just an incredible quote.
wow.
Look at this one more time.
Whoops. So unreal, man.
It's cool.
It's
cool.
wild.
I got this.
Absolutely wild. But my serious prediction, it would be Palat for me. I think he scored a ton of big time goals for Tampa Bay, including and he just had an unsung hero for the Tampa Bay Lightning up until this point, and with possibly 2 more games to go, we'll see if he can keep that up. But guys, thanks for hopping on with me. We're just after midnight here. Obviously, with these later games out on the West Coast, a little tougher to get in sometimes. But of course, appreciate you guys hopping on, Ryan and producer Steve. Remember, this is brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case in Western New York. Get over to Georgetown Boulevard for any of your adult beverage needs. Get over there and tell them 2 goalies, 1 Mike sent you. We will talk to you next time for Game 6. Will the Stanley Cup be raised in Tampa Bay by the Colorado Avalanche, or will we see a Game 7 a few days later in Colorado? With that being said, I'll hang up and listen.